Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, depending on whichever part of the world you are tuning in from. And it's a sunny morning out here, and I'm so excited, grateful for life to be with you here this morning as we are going to be taking another fresh new look at the financial market. Well, before we kickstart, a quick recap of last week. It was a tremendously profitable week for us during the previous week, as we had significant amounts of profit after taking advantage of the slip in the US dollar during the midweek stroke, the last trading the later part of last week. It has been a very tremendous week for us all, and for those of you who are part of that profitable journey, well done and kudos to you for being on standby to capitalize on that move. And as we head into the new week, we do hope that we will be able to replicate the experience we had last week. Well, it's not all the time that the market usually gives us this kind of situation, but let's see what will happen for this week. And as usual, I have done some couple of analysis on the asset we will be looking at for this week. For those of you who are with me on all my public platforms, you definitely must have gotten an insight into what we are looking for this week. So for this week, we are going to be looking at the GBPUSD, the USOILSPOT, and of course the XAUUSD. That's my favorite, which is usually known as the gold spot. And in honor of this asset, have been able to do, except for the US oil, have been able to do a top-down analysis, which I shared publicly. And I do encourage you all to watch those videos, as it will give you a background knowledge of what we will be doing here. And for those of you who are with me for a while now, you know that the Forex Morning Mastery is basically a follow-up detail, and we usually focus on the 1 hour time frame. So if you do want to have a background knowledge of how we got to the structures you will be seeing on the 1 hour time frame, then I encourage you to watch those videos. If you had not watched them, you can refer to those videos via the links in the description box of this current video you are watching. Now for the US All Spot, since I didn't share anything on the US All Spot publicly, don't worry, I will be doing a top-down analysis on the US All Spot as we look forward to new trading opportunities on that particular asset. And for those of you who are joining me for the first time, you're highly welcome on board, and I'm very excited to have you around with us this morning. And I know you will be asking what this is all about. Well, as technical traders, we usually gather here every day to come together as a community and engage in follow-up details and review of our current positions in preparation of both the London and the New York session. This session officially kickstarts 8:05 a.m. UTC, 9:05 a.m. West African time, and I do recommend that you stay tuned in so you don't miss out on any of the valuable ideas we will be deliberating on today. My aim is to equip you with the knowledge and skills necessary to make informed trading decisions independently. The more time you spend with me, the better you will become at comprehending my analytical approach and utilizing the information gathered here to enhance your own trading decisions and strategies. So once again, you are highly welcome on board. So with that being said, here we will be diving right into the business, and of course, as usual, you know how we do it. The first thing we want to be doing this morning is to keep tabs with the fundamental factors that will be affecting the assets on our watch list for today. And of course, you know how important this is, as these fundamental factors often manifest on the chart in technical patterns and price movement. Now, by monitoring the economic calendar, we can identify potential correlations between key economic releases and specific technical patterns on the chart, hereby giving us valuable information needed to position ourselves in such a way that we can capitalize on any potential move prior, during, and even after this economic event. So usually we focus on high impactful event from the economies that affect the assets on our watch list, and based on this asset we will be focusing on both the United States and the United Kingdom only. Now if we look at what we have on Monday today, that's November 20th, we only have one high impactful event, which is of course the Bank of England's governor's speech, which is coming up in about I think about 10 hours from now. And for those who don't know, this kind of speeches are very, very important, as it usually influences the overall financial market sentiment. And of course, his remarks definitely will be providing us insight into their central bank's outlook on the economy, the potential policy shifts that are likely going to be happening, and then the potential of interest rate changes for December. And of course, this will be impacting the trading decisions and market sentiment as well. Now, because of the fact that we only have one high impactful event today, I want to take it a step further to look at the possibilities of a medium impactful event that could give us a little bit of platform to synchronize our trading decisions for today. So I will be including the medium impactful event, and let's see what we have here. Do we have any other thing? Okay, no, we do not have any event. So in the absence of no other event, we will be relying on our technical skills to position ourselves for the next move. Now, with that being said here, let's dive right into the business. And before I do that, I can see a handful of comments right here. I can see Torres Master, good morning to you. Glad to have you around with us. I see Simon Bayoni, good morning to you. Hello Kelechi, how are you doing today? Good morning to you. Glad to have you around with us this morning. Hello Hiker's Diary and Ismet Keskin. Good morning to you guys. I'm so excited to have you around with us this morning. So with that being said here, let's dive right into the business. And as usual, the first asset we will be looking at this morning is going to be the USOILSPOT. And for those of you who are with me on my on my Telegram platform, I did give an update this morning as regards to how we are going to be managing our positions for today. And I made mention of some fundamental factors that are likely going to be driving the market sentiment, and we have seen based on what is going on since last week Friday that the market gained some bullish traction, which we of course took advantage of. And according to media reports, the OPEC Plus members may consider deeper supply cuts to bolster the prices of these assets in the nearest future. And remember, they're having a meeting coming up on the 26th of November. I think that will be on Saturday, I guess. Let me check my calendar. Okay, that will be on Sunday. So it's next week it's going to be happening. And of course, the anticipation of this event definitely will be driving or causing some sentiment to happen in this market today. So let's look at how we are going to be positioning ourselves for the next move. Now, the first thing we are going to be doing here, I will be going into the 4 hours time frame, as this is where my analysis started for this week. And if you look at the 4 hours time frame, what I did here was to take into consideration the nature of price action in the last 3 to 4 weeks to give us an insight into the nature of trading activity. And it is quite obvious that price action has been bearish since the second week of the month of October. Now, if you look at the structure closely, you will see that we have a series of lower highs. And if we connect the series of lower highs, we have the resistance line of that descending channel marked out. And then if we take it a step further to connect the series of lower lows, we have the support line of that descending channel. Now we have a beautiful descending channel to guide our trading decisions for this week. And for the fact that price remains within the descending channel, we obviously want to be looking out for patterns and structures that supports the idea of selling. However, It's not all the time that this kind of situation usually happens, so we need to take it a little step further to dive into the details, at least what has been going on in this market in the last couple of weeks. Now, if we take it a step further and zoom in to the current structure, the first thing I was able to spot here in the last 2 weeks is how important the $76 level has been. And if you look at what has been going on here, you will see how this level had played a major role in determining the direction of price action. Look at what happened here. We saw selling niche around this area. Price traded below the structure for about 3 days or so at the beginning of the week of this month, before price broke out of that structure. Then price stayed above the structure for a while before it finally did break down again during last week's trading session. And we saw what happened as soon as price hit that bottom at the $72.50 level. We saw price retrace back into that same structure during the end of last week trading session. And one interesting thing about this key level is how crucial it is positioned here. It shares a beautiful confluence with the resistant line of that descending channel, which makes it a crucial juncture for us to capitalize on the next potential move. Now, the question going into the new week is, will price action respect the resistant line of that descending channel in such a way that we could have a double top structure or any form of reversal pattern to incite a downtrend scenario, which further gives more importance to that descending channel? However, we could also see a situation where price could break out of the resistant line of that descending channel to incite an uptrend move. So anything could happen around that area, making it a very crucial juncture at this point in time. Now, another thing I would like to call our attention to here is how this support line of this descending channel has been playing out. And you know that whenever we have the support line of a descending channel, when price comes into that structure, we do expect price to find buy pressure. So let me just give you a visual representation of what I'm talking about here. So whenever price comes into the support line, we expect buy pressure to come in like it has always done here. Now price came back again into it right here. We saw buy pressure resume. Now, as at last week, despite the strong bearish momentum, price was unable to even go close to the support line of that descending channel, which for me is a red flag that we are likely going to be seeing some bullish opportunity that may break out of the resistant line of that channel. Now, because of this idea in mind and the inability of sellers to get close to that support line here, I'm of the opinion that we might likely be seeing some reversal pattern form around this area, maybe in the form of a double bottom structure where the $76 area will be serving as the neckline, which interestingly shares a confluence with the resistant line of the channel to incite an uptrend scenario. So we are at a very crucial juncture here. So if price breaks down the $76 area and continued selling pressure happens here, we want to consider selling. And if price does not break down the previous low and instead forms a higher low, then we know that we are in for an uptrend situation. So what we are going to be doing next here is to scale down into a much more lower time frame so that we can see how participant in the market has been reacting to the $76 area since the beginning of this week. Remember how important this area is. $76 level and the resistant line of that descending channel shares a beautiful confluence, and if price remains above our key level, we want to be looking out for buying opportunities, and if price drops below the key level, we want to be looking out for selling opportunities. Now let's scale down into the 1 hour time frame to see what has been going on since the beginning of this week. So while trying to identify what the nature of price action is since the beginning of this week, you will see that the week started on a strong note, breaking out of the $76 area, as you will see This was where price action started this week, around the $75.90 area, $76 area, and then we saw price move up about a 1% growth this week. As soon as it got into the $76.80 area, we begin to notice some selling pressure around that area. Now the $76.80 and the descending trend line, which happens to be the resistant line of that descending channel, we identified on the 4 hours time frame within the same area at this point. Now, for me to, whenever we have this kind of situation where price is actually at the moment, we can say it is confined within the $76.80 level and the $75.90 level. We have no other choice than to exercise patience here, and let's see how market participants will prepare for this week. Now, what we will be looking out for here is either price action breaks out of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or break down the support line to give us an opportunity to sell, which is of course in alignment with the this current pattern we have here. So it's a very simple setup we have here for today. So personally, I will be having a buy stop order above the $76.80 area with the hopes that price will continue to the upside, and of course price above the $76.80 level also shows that price action has also broken out of the resistant line of that descending channel we identified on the 4 hours time frame. Now, if price action drops and breaks down the $76 level, then at this point we are back into the seller's territory, which is within the descending channel we identified on the higher time frame. And if continued selling pressure happens here, where buyers are finding it difficult to climb back above the 76, then we look out for selling opportunities here. So we are not going to be selling unless price action breaks down our key level at the $76 area. So at this point in time, I'm holding on to a bullish bias here, waiting for price to break out of the $76.80 level. But while we look out for a bullish setup, do not forget that the sellers could also take over the market at the same time. So let's mark out these levels on our chart, as we will be needing them as a reference point to guide our independent trading decisions for today. So our center of focus basically for today is between the $76.80 and the $75.90 level. So these are my views on the US All Spot for today. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So as usual, I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds off to see if there are any questions in the comment section, while you can also use that time to mark out these levels on your chart. So I see a handful of comments here. Stephen Stewart, good morning to you. Nine Likat, always on XAUUSD Likat. Of course, we will be taking on XAUUSD today. All right. Mahan, hello Mahan, good morning to you. Glad to have you around with us this morning. All right. So in the absence of no questions, I do want to assume that we are all on the same page, and in that regard, let's move on to the next asset on our watch list. But if you still have questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. So the next asset on our watch list for today is going to be the GBPUSD, and in fact I can say here that the GBPUSD was the most profitable asset on our watch list for last week, as we were able to scoop in over 1,300 pips in profit as we took advantage of that buy position. I think we had about 7 buy positions to capitalize on that momentum, and once again congratulations to everyone who had been part of this trading opportunity. Now, a quick one here, just a quick reminder for those of you who are joining for the first time. We only attend to the 1 hour time frame during the Forex Morning Mastery. I only went to the higher time frame on the US oil basically because I did not share a public video on that one. So for the GBPUSD, if you had not watched my previous video, which I do normally share during the course of the weekend, I encourage you to go and watch those videos so you can have a background knowledge of how we got to this point. You will be seeing on the 1 hour time frame. And if you had not seen the video, you can check the link in the description box of this current video you are watching. You will definitely get a link to direct you to the GBP USD video. So with that being said here, let's look at what is going on in this particular market. Now, the pound sterling is currently in a positive position. As you can see, price action is currently trading around the 1.24650 and the 1.24950 area, having broken out of this range we identified this morning. For those of you who are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, you must have gotten an update as to how we are going to be managing this position. And from a fundamental perspective, the recent recovery in the pound sterling is supported by the weaker US dollar and of course the lower US Treasury bond yield, which is evident during the later part of last week's trading session. And today, based on the asset we have here, majority of participants in the market will be looking forward to the Bank of England's governor's speech, which is coming up later today, to give us an insight into what is likely going to be happening. And as a result of this anticipation, there are chances that we can see a choppy situation in the market today, or consolidation phases in anticipation of this event. And if that is going to be the case, how do we want to position ourselves for the next move? Well, it's quite simple. I already have a beautiful setup we will be using to guide our trading decisions for today's trading session. And for those who had watched my video, remember that we had identified a key level on the higher time frame, which is at the 1.2400 area, and of course this level here played a major role in determining the direction of price action in the last 3 weeks, I guess. And of course, you know how we use our key levels in this community. As long as price action remains above the key level, we want to be looking out for patterns and structures that supports the idea of buying. Now, zooming into what has been going on here since the beginning of this week, the first thing we observed is how price action was initially trapped or confined within the 1.24650 and the 1.24465 level for the first 4 to 5 hours of the week before it was finally broken with this beautiful engulfing bullish candle that you will see here, breaking out of the resistance line of that range to further confirm that buyers are getting stronger by the day. And you know how we do it whenever we have a range like this. We usually want to wait for price to break out of the structure to capitalize on the uptrend move. Well, personally, I missed out on this opportunity, as when the breakout of the structure happened, it was in the midnight over here. And for those of us who actually took advantage of this opportunity, well done and kudos to you for being on standby to capitalize on this move. Now, for those of us who had missed out, well, let's see if the market will give us a second chance to be part of that trading opportunity. Now that price action has broken out of that 1.24650, we saw a situation where price came into the 1.24950, and in fact in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours we've noticed some selling pressure around that area. Now the question at this juncture is, will this be the incitation of a retracement back into structure, maybe to retest the zone that was broken in anticipation of the next wave of bullish momentum? So that is one of the things I'm looking out for here. So if price action drops into this area, maybe around the 1.24650, it could even drop even further than that. But what we want to be looking out for here are patterns and structures that supports the idea of buying. And what we're going to be looking for, instance, maybe a double bottom structure a head and shoulder pattern. We just want to look out for a reversal pattern that shows signs that buyers are trying to push price to the upside. Then we have mark out our neckline. Then we can join the uptrend situation from there. However, if price does not drop into this zone at all, does not drop into this area, and instead continues to find new highs, then the breakout of the 1.24950 level, which happens to be the highest point for this week, will be welcoming more buy positions. Now, for those of us who are already profitable, who took advantage at the 1.24650, you could simply have a buy stop order above that structure. Personally, I do have a buy stop order there with the hopes that price will climb to the upside. And remember that you do want to be having your stop losses in place right below the previous low here. In this case scenario, let's see, we could be having about 25 pips max on this one to see how price will play out if it does break out of the 1.24950. So we maintain a bullish bias on the GBP USD for today. However, you know how we do it in this community. We usually also take into consideration the potentials of sellers too as well. Now, despite the fact that we're looking out for buying opportunities, we cannot ignore the potentials that sellers could also come in. And for those of you who watch my video on the GBP USD, you will see that I identified this level at the 1.24400 area, which happens to be the neckline of a temporary reversal pattern we identified on the higher time frame. Please watch my video so you can understand what I'm talking about here. So with this level here, for me personally, I would rather want to see price drop below this level for me to start considering selling at all. Though price is still above the key level for this week, but if price drops below the 1.2440 area and I begin to see signs that buyers are finding it difficult to climb back above the 1.244, it will reflect on the chart as continuous selling pressure, maybe price retesting the structure. Then I want to be selling, then have a sell stop order below the 1.240 level, which happens to be our key level for this week, to continue adding more sell position. But trust me, I will be with you in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platforms to give you updates as at when due, if anything interesting comes up along that perspective. But at this point in time, our center of focus is basically going to be between the 1.24950 and the 1.24500 area. Let me put it at that, as depending on how price reacts to the structure will be determining what our next line of action will be. But at the meantime, I maintain a bullish bias. But if price breaks down the 1.24400 level, we will be getting ready to consider selling the GBP USD for today. So these are my views on the GBP USD. I encourage you to mark out these levels on your chart, as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide your independent trading decisions for today. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds off to see if there are any questions whatsoever before we move on to the next asset on our watch list. And you can as well take that time as well to mark out these levels on your chart, as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide your decisions for today. So I see a handful of comments and inquiries here, and first on the list here is I can see Phyllis Wihaki. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. You said you can also talk about stop loss placement. Well, it shows that you are new with us here, and I usually mention this countless of times, that I try as much as possible not to be a signal service provider here. and the vast majority of my audience are within a vast range of traders, from day traders to positional traders and to swing traders, of course, and even scalpers too as well. Now, depending on your lifestyle or your personality profiling, depending on the kind of trading repertoire you have, you should have a way through which you should have a well-defined risk management strategy for every approach you are adopting. So if you are taking a long-term perspective, definitely you want to be having a wider range of stop loss, and if you are taking a short-term perspective, you want to be having a shorter range of stop loss. Now, in this session, what we simply do here is to try to see how we can position ourselves in such a way that we can capitalize on the next move by understanding the market sentiment in the market and mark out levels where we want to be looking out for buying opportunities and levels where we want to be looking out for selling opportunities. Now, we have levels already on the chart. You can use these levels to mark your key levels. If you are buying at a level, let's say for instance you want to be buying above the 1.24650 level, in this case scenario, definitely you want to be having your stop loss way below the support line so that you can give enough breathing space for price action to breathe, which will be dovetailing to, let's see, about 20-25 pip stop loss on that one, depending on where your entry point is. So I would encourage you to use the levels identified on the chart to make your own stop loss. And in fact, if you want something personal, then you can contact me. We can talk one-on-one in that regard. But for the Forex Morning Mastery, what we simply do here is to analyze the market, position ourselves for the next move. What are the sentiments in the market, using basically trend lines, key levels, and chart patterns to do this. So I do hope I answered your question on that one, Miyaki. And Kelechi says here, do you share the same sentiment of not trading on Mondays? Well, I don't have any sentiment. Well, the only thing I do is listen to what the market is saying. So I come to the chart and look at what the psychology behind the price action is doing. And if it gives me a signal on what to do based on the levels I've identified on the chart, I will do it. And if it tells me not to do anything, I will not do it. So I don't have any sentiment or any prior data bringing into the chart. So what I just do is simply listen to what the chart is saying. So I hope I answered your question correctly, appropriately there. Then Ikes Dari says here that please explain how the US Treasury bond yields relates to our trading decisions. Well, the US Treasury bond yield is directly proportional to the US dollar, which is of course one of the major assets we used to monitor on this platform. So if the US Treasury bond yield is doing very, very well, then definitely the dollar is going to be doing well as well. And at the same time, it usually affects the gold too, as well, as it's the gold being a safe haven asset, and the US Treasury yield tied to the value of the US dollar, so it plays a major role. So if we can be able to see if the US Treasury world is doing very well, definitely it will tell on the US dollar, and then the dollar too is likely going to rise as well. But in the later part of last week, it has been nosediving to the downside, which of course we also saw how the dollar has also reacted in that regard. If you zoom out, it can be seen as a potential double top pattern. Probably you're talking about this one right here, this double top pattern here, right? Nope. Yes, it's possible. But for the fact that price still remains above the buyer's territory, above the 1.2440 area, I would not be considering selling at all. So that's my own rule here. I would not be selling unless I see price. In fact, it could still be a double top structure that will incite a short-term retracement, maybe back into some structure here to incite an uptrend situation. So I'm not looking at the short term, I'm rather looking at the long term here. So at this point in time, it is not yet confirmed until we see it confirmed, and then we can make a decision based on that. So I do hope I answered all your questions, and in the absence of no other questions, I want to assume we are all on the same page, and in that regard, let's move on to the last and final asset on our watch list for today's trading session. So the final asset on my watch list for today is my favorite, and that is the XAUUSD, which is popularly known as the gold spot. And on the gold too as well, we were able to scoop in over 800 pips from multiple buy entries during the course of last week's trading session. And for those of us who were part of that profitable journey, well done and kudos to you for being on standby to capitalize on that move. So we have seen a significant movement in gold prices for last week, and for this week are we going to be seeing a retracement of that move, or price is likely going to continue to the upside? So these are the juncture we are right now. And of course, during the Asian session, we saw how the market started finding some buying interest around the $1,973.50 area during the Asian session today, to give us signs that buyers may likely be pushing price further to the upside. But in that regard, we still need to be very, very careful, as the potential for a significant correction is still something that could happen in this particular market, based on, depending on how market participants anticipate the Federal Reserve minute publication, which is coming up tomorrow. Now, for those of you, I want to reiterate here, if you had not watched my video on the XAUUSD, please go out there and watch my video. It's located on my channel. You can find it on my TradingView platform, on my Telegram platform, and right here on the YouTube channel. And if you're on YouTube, you can check right in the description box of this current video you are watching. Check out my video on the XAUUSD so you can have the background knowledge of how we got to this point and how crucial the current structure we are in right now is to determine what our next line of action will be. Now, for the sake of clarity, let me just give you a peep into the 4 hours time frame to see what is going on the 4 hours time frame. Now, on the 4 hours time frame, we have a descending channel where we have the resistance line right here, and then we have the support line of that descending channel right here, which I emphasized in my video. Then we have the key level, which interestingly shares a beautiful confluence with the resistant line of that descending channel there, giving us a beautiful confluence to work with. And one of the things I said in my video is that if price will drop below the 1,980, it will also drop within the descending channel, making it a seller's territory for us to join a bearish momentum to the downside. So if price action breaks back down into the channel right below the 1,980 and continued selling pressure happens here, we are likely going to see price drop maybe back into the support line of that descending channel to incite an uptrend continuation. However, if this does not happen and price climbs back above the resistance line of that descending channel, then and buy pressure continues above this area, we are likely going to be seeing a breakout of the 1,992, which will be a very good opportunity for me to join a bullish momentum. So I just wanted to show you what things are looking like on the 4 hours time frame, so you can see how crucial the current structure we are is right now. Now, scaling back down into the 1 hour time frame so that we can see how participant in the market has reacted to this very important key level at the 1,980 since the beginning of this week. Now, scaling down into the 1 hour time frame, this is what I was able to identify here. The first thing I did observe here is how the week started with a bearish gap, as you will see here. Price action closed around the 1,980 at the end of last week, but opened right below the 1,980. That's about how many pips? Okay, about 25 pips bearish gap we had there, which of course reveals the institutional sentiment that happened through the course of the weekend. Now, we saw price action, though started on a bearish note, dropped into the $1,973.50 level, and during the Asian session we saw some deep buying happen, bringing price back into the 1,985. Then price is back again within this area. So one thing I just noticed here is that price action is oscillating right around the 1,980, which is our key level for this week, which further emphasizes how important this level is, as price is still ranging around that area. Participants are not sure of what to do next, and this further emphasizes the level of uncertainty in this market. Now, with price action confined within a range now, that is between the 1,985 and the $1,973.50 level, it emphasized the uncertainty in the market. And of course, you do know how we attend to flat channels like this whenever they appear on our chart. We have no other choice than to exercise patience and wait for either the breakout of the resistance line of that channel to happen to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line of that channel to give us an opportunity to sell. And one interesting thing about this current structure is that we are at an equilibrium here, where you know how we attend to our key levels in this community. As long as price remains above the key level, we want to be looking out for patterns and structures that supports the idea of buying. And if price breaks down the key level, we want to be looking out for patterns and structures that supports the idea of selling. So the support line at the $1,973.50 level, if it gets broken today, price is below the key level and it will likely incite a sell-off in this particular market. So with sell position below the 1,973, you of course want to be having your stop loss way above the previous high, which is around above the 1,980 level. However, if price action does break out the resistance line of this range at the 1,985, price will be above the key level, which lines up with the expectations of buying the XAUUSD for today. And remember, your stop losses right below the key level, maybe around 60 to 65 or 70 pips, depending on where your entry point is. So we're at a very crucial juncture on the market right now, where I showed you on the 4 hours time frame, price action is sitting just right around that resistance line of that descending channel, and of course our key level for the week at the 1,980 level. So let's see how the market will play around this range. Our center of focus for today is basically between the 1,985 and the $1,973.50 level, where depending on the direction of the breakout today will give us an insight into where price is likely going to be going, at least for the first half of this week. So these are my views on the XAUUSD today. Very simple setup. Let's see how the market will play out, and trust me, I will be with you in the comment section of both my Trading View and Telegram platforms to give you updates as to how we are going to be managing these positions. So let me know in the comment section if you have questions or you need further clarifications. And while I wait for your comments and inquiries, I would like to state here that for those of you who had not liked the video, please like it. If you have found the video, you found this content helpful in making your independent trading decisions for today, I really appreciate your support by giving the video a thumbs up. Your likes are very valuable to me, and in fact it also helps the algorithm promote the video to a wider audience of traders who may find this content beneficial to them too. And thank you very much as you do so. So on this note, I will just take some time off. Let's see if there are any questions whatsoever before we just do a roundup for today's trading session. So I just dropped the link to the XAUUSD live window in the comment section right now, pinned at the top at the comment section. So you want to be clicking on that link, click on the notify me button so that you can get notified as soon as we come online. So for those of you who are joining for the first time who don't know what the XAUUSD live window is all about, well, it's a simple. The XAUUSD live window platform was born out of popular demand from this platform here, where we come together during the New York session to monitor real-time price action on the XAUUSD and see how we anticipate new opportunities and, of course, manage our positions on this asset. So this session usually lasts between the first 6 to 7 hours of the New York session. So you do want to be part of that session to see how we do things live together. And click on the link, click on the notify me button and engage in the comment section during the live session. It usually kickstarts 5 to 10 minutes into the New York session, and I look forward to seeing you guys right there. So please click on the like button. I'm here to see your likes on the like button. Please do so. As okay, I see your comment here, Fred. Thanks for the compliment. Likat, do you have any questions as regard what we talked about today? Hikers Diary, thank you for the compliments and support so far. So it's on this note, I would like to call it a day here. It has been a wonderful moment with you guys. I really appreciate and enjoyed every single moment I had with you guys today. It has been a wonderful moment, and let's see how the market will play out this week. If we will be able to replicate what we did last week, let's see if that is going to be possible. So I'm so excited about this week as we have very interesting setup. And in fact, we were able to look at 3 major assets for today: the GBPUSD, the XAUUSD, and of course the USOILSPOT, where we were able to use the fundamental tools such as trend lines, key levels, and chart patterns to identify potential trading opportunities for this week. So let's see how this is going to play out. I do hope you marked out your levels accordingly on your chart, and let's see. And I will encourage you to ensure that you allow your structures to mature before you jump into any position, and always remember to have a well-defined risk management strategy which is consistent with all your trade. Every decisions we make in the financial market is more or less an educated guess until price action hits your TP target. So please note this, have your risk management strategy, have your stop loss in place, and protect your positions so that you can trade another day. And for those of you who joined us for the first time, I do hope you are able to gain 1 or 2 things from what we discussed here today. And I encourage you to be part of our subsequent editions, as the more time you spend with us, the better you will become in understanding the analytical approach and eventually be able to use the information to make your own independent trading decisions. So once again, I welcome you, and I look forward to seeing more of you same time tomorrow, 9:05 a.m. West African time, 8:05 a.m. UTC, as we come back here again to review how well these assets have been doing, and at the same time prepare for tomorrow's trading session. See you all in the comment section of both my TradingView Telegram platform and during the XAUUSD live window as we continue to monitor price action. Trade smart, trade consciously. Bye-bye.